All right, what's up, guys? So I decided I want to try my hand at making some tier lists, and I thought that given how I recently finished Gears 4 and 5, and I started going back and playing the original trilogy again, I thought I would do a tier list for the weapons in Gears of War, and I'm going to do it by game because trying to get a definitive list of every weapon in the series and trying to figure out what my metrics were going to be just made doing all of them at once a headache. So instead, what I thought I'd do is I would do a tier list on all the weapons in the campaign of each game because I think that the weapon's usefulness is partially denoted by which game you're in, and also because some weapons have changed between games. Example being the Hammerburst, they changed how that weapon works. Since you use the Mark 1 Hammerburst in the first game, and then they changed it out for the Mark 2, which is more of a single fire. And it just became easier to break it out by game. So my criteria here are, it's going to be subjective to my playstyle. I've played all three of the original games and beaten all of them on Insane back in the day on 360. I've played, 4 and 5 recently on PC finally, and, going back and replaying them. And I still feel like all the habits and instincts that I established when I used to play them still hold up with what weapons I tend to gravitate towards. And so this is all going to be opinion, and, any discussion around it is awesome. So I'm going to start with just any one-off weapons. The Bolo grenades. In Gears 1, you can tag enemies with them, but you can't plant the grenade like you can in later games. I'm going to put it at A tier. I mean, it's a frag grenade. You can use it to clear out groups of enemies and close emergence holes. It's great. The way you throw them is awesome compared to grenades in any other game. Since they're like a bolo, you actually have to spin it to throw it. Really awesome weapon. I never feel like I'm lacking for them in the campaign, but maybe that's just because I'm stingy with them. And when I've been replaying it, I've been trying to use them more, and they're grenades. They're great. I'm gonna do the handguns next, and I'm gonna start with the snub pistol. I'm gonna put it at C tier. It's not awful, but I definitely prefer the Boltok, and part of that is because I like to fire accurately. And I feel like the snub tends to encourage you to just mag dump your enemy, because usually when you're pulling your handgun out, it's because you really quickly need to be able to fire your weapon and you're not able to reload fast enough to handle whatever threat's coming at you. And it just doesn't do enough damage for my taste. It's fine. I've used it a lot, but I tend to switch it out for the Boltok, which I'm also going to put at A tier. The Boltok does, high damage, and if you get a perfect reload, it increases your fire rate. And I've usually found that if I'm switching to my handgun, I'm pretty desperate, and I need to kill whatever it is that made me desperate very quickly. And I feel like that's a lot easier to do with the Boltok than the snub. Now, you can argue that if you're close up enough, accuracy isn't going to be an issue with the snub, but I usually found that even with its slower fire rate without a perfect reload, the Boltok has served me better in those situations. Now, let's go with the Hammer of Dawn, just because it's really kind of weird in terms of the rest of the weapons in the game, but it is in the campaign. I'm going to put it at B tier. And the reason for that is because it's such a situational weapon. Whenever you can use it, it's great. You can clear enemies out, and it's great, and it's awesome, but it's so subjective to when you're in the campaign. Obviously, you get it with the first two berserkers you fight. You get it when you take out the Cedars. But like at the beginning of Act 2, Hammer of Dawn goes offline right away, and you don't get to use it anymore. So it's good when you get it. Very useful. But, part because the campaign's just designed that way for narrative structure, you can't always use it, which is understandable. That's fine. That just means it's not always useful throughout the campaign. Boomshot, I'm also going to put it at A tier. It's a grenade launcher. It's great. You can clear out enemies really fast, and if you perfect reload, it gets a cluster effect. And yeah, I really enjoy it. Obviously, actually, I should almost put it at B tier just because of its ammo situation, which is completely understandable, but depending on if you're fighting a bunch of boomers or not, then it's going to determine how often you'll actually get to use it. So I'm actually going to put it at B tier. That is a better ranking for it, just due to ammo. Nasher shotgun, I'm going to put at A tier. It's a good shotgun. Given the visceral nature of Gears of War combat, I feel like it is just a perfect representation of how gory and intense the combat can be. I know in multiplayer, it's a go-to weapon. I'm not a big multiplayer person for Gears, aside from Horde mode and later games. But it's a good weapon. I mean, if you're going to be in close quarters, it's good to have with you. You can fire it from the hip and hit enemies close up pretty accurately in a desperate situation. And it's just a good weapon. I'm going to do the assault rifles last. The torque bow, I am also going to put at B tier. And don't get me wrong, I love the Boomshot and the torque bow. They're great weapons. The Boomshot comes down to ammo. The torque bow comes down to how long it takes to fire. If you perfect reload, you can fire it faster, and that does make it useful. But it is sometimes hard to stick enemies with the bow or with your arrow. But if you hit an enemy, they're done. And if you play on higher difficulties and you get hit with one, you're done. And I love it. It is a good weapon. The blades when you melee are really cool. But yeah, good gun. Really, really, it is a pain when you're on higher difficulties because it is a weapon that will one-shot you. And if you kill an enemy that is in the middle of firing it and they are already aiming at you, they'll release it. It's like on a dead man switch and it will kill you. And it is frustrating when that happens. But I feel like that is a very cool effect to see in a weapon when you kill an enemy wielding it. So I like that weapon a lot. And it's useful. I mean, as long as you can keep having ammo for it, it continues to be useful. I do also ding it because you don't get it until Act 3, so you go through about half the game before you have access to it. But then it's available a lot as you fight Theron guards, and it is just a very useful weapon. Next, we have the Longshot, S tier. I love sniper rifles. As you can see, like I did try to be fair to the Nasher, but shotguns are still not my playstyle in this game. My playstyle is much more long range. Longshot, oh, you can just dome so many enemies. There is a particular scene in Gears 2 at the beginning during Operation Hollowstorm. If you played it, you know what I'm talking about, where you just headshot and kill several enemies in a row. It is an awesome weapon. It can absolutely destroy enemies at pretty much any range. I've even used it in regular firefights. In Gears 1, I believe you can replenish it with regular ammo boxes. They changed that in later games. And from a developer perspective, I can see why. From a player perspective, give me all the ammo for this thing because I never want to put it down. But, that was probably done for balancing reasons, and I can see why. It is just an excellent rifle. I think on Game Rant, they actually put it in the top 5 game sniper rifles alongside the sniper rifle from Halo. And I can absolutely understand why. It is a powerhouse. Now we got our last 2 weapons, the Hammerburst and the Lancer. I'm going to do the Hammerburst first. And I'm going to actually... I can't put it at C in good conscience, put it at anything lower than B tier. And I think that's where it belongs. It's not a bad weapon. The fire rate's good. The damage is good. I will often use it as a second primary, especially early in the game. especially when I'm in a lot of situations where the Nasher just feels like I'm not using it enough. However, the reason I used it as a second weapon is because of the Lancer. Its alternative is the Lancer, and everyone knows where this is going. S tier. This is, I have to put it as the best weapon in the game. And I think any Gears player will understand that. It has a good fire rate. It is good at close range. It is good at medium range. It's even good at long range. It doesn't kick like a mule. The Hammerburst, you can master firing it and use it at long range too, but the Lancer, burst fire, full auto, whatever. It is good. It deals out steady damage. And of course, it has the iconic chainsaw bayonet. And, anyone who's played on higher difficulty, I think will know that you try to avoid melee in higher difficulty settings, just because, you have a lower health pool, enemies do higher damage. But, if they do not hit you when you rev the chainsaw, and you are in a desperate situation, it can get you out of a mess. I have had it get me out of plenty of messes on high difficulty, and you can carry tons of ammo. I think the lowest you can carry across the original 3 games is like 420 rounds. I know in Gears 2 you can have up to 600 rounds, and then in Gears 1 you have around 500. It's just an excellent weapon. Anyone on higher difficulty also knows that you will use all that ammo, but just if there is a single weapon in the Gears of War games, if there was a mission where I had to only carry one weapon, I would lose my sidearm, I would lose my grenades, I would lose my other primary, I would keep the Lancer. The Lancer is just a fantastic weapon, and when they started having more Locust carry it into battle, I was so happy because that just meant I got to keep using it and I wouldn't run out of ammo. Obviously, I'm not going to put the turrets because, those are tactically placed throughout the campaign for various situations, whether you're assaulting a position or you assault and then defend a position. I'm also not doing the smoke grenades because those are multiplayer only. This was just for the campaign. And any Gears fans that want to, whether you agree with it or disagree with it, let me know. I'm happy to be told that I'm using a weapon wrong, but, I love these games. I've put hundreds, if not thousands of hours into them across the campaigns because I was either playing horde mode or campaign in all of these. I rarely played multiplayer because the campaigns were so much fun. Horde mode was so much fun. You get together with some buddies, and it's just a great time. I think this is a really good spread for a tier list of games weapons. I was really thinking I would put the snub in D tier, but as I thought about it, it has its uses. I mean, it does have its uses. If I look at some of the weapons in the later Gears games, I would definitely put some at D tier. But, the first game doesn't have that large of a weapon set, but every single one can be useful, and you can make every single one of them work for you. It just so happens that I think the Longshot and the Lancer are the 2 just absolutely legendary weapons in this game. And I will say these 2 are going to be in S tier throughout the entire series. I just love them, whether it was Epic or the Coalition. They're just great weapons in every single game. But that's the end of this tier list. Let me know in the comments what you think. See ya.